Now at 5, a historic Southeast Kansas business is officially back open. We'll hear from the new owners. Plus, students in McDonald County, Missouri meet the best-selling author of the book they've been reading.
Boeing CEO is on Capitol Hill answering lawmakers' questions about the safety of his planes. I'm Natalie Brand with the fallout and next steps for the company after a door panel blew off midair.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Authorities in Cedar County, Missouri say the human remains discovered in a brush pile last week are that of a Joplin woman. This is KOAM News at 5. I'm Tanya Bach. The Cedar County Sheriff says the remains were identified as 27-year-old Shania Haynes. Her body was found last week in a brush pile. A full autopsy will be used to determine the cause of death. Now, 3 men are arrested and charged in this case. Bradley Keith of El Dorado Springs, Brandon Choate of Lamar, and Jimmy Cole of Stockton are all charged with tampering with physical evidence and abandonment of a corpse. Well, Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy joins us.
All right, it turned out to be another gloomy day for us today, but again, temperatures above freezing as most of us went into the mid to upper 40s across the region. And thankfully, we got rid of the dense fog. We could still see a little bit of patchy fog for us tonight, but it's not going to be near as dense as what we have seen over the past couple days. 41 in Yates Center, 46 in Welch, 45 in Anderson. Stockton is sitting at about 42 degrees, and all the rain we had earlier today is pushing off toward the north and to the east, so we're going to stay mainly dry as we go through the rest of the evening into the overnight hours. So this round of rain is out of here. But of course, we have another one which is building back toward the south and to the west. But the evening hours are going to be okay. We'll kind of hang into the lower 40s, cloudy skies, but we do have more rain chances in the forecast. We're going to be talking about that here in just a bit.
All right, thanks, Doug. Corona, Kansas has brought one of its most memory-filled buildings back to life. The Gay Parita, which originally opened back in 1934, has recently been remodeled and restored to its former glory. Current owner John Parsons told us about how he remembers hearing stories as a little boy about how the Parita would be filled with hundreds of people every night.
It's been unbelievable, the people that's called and asked about it and talked about it and sent us stuff. And it was all because of coal mining. You know, that's the only reason the little town was here. That's my grandmother, she taught at the school here in the 20s, and my children are the 7th generation within just a couple miles.
The Parita will be open to the public tomorrow. Those interested will be able to purchase food and listen to a live band. Well, some kids in McDonald County today got to speak with a published author. It's part of Anderson Elementary School's One Book, One School reading program. This year, students read Mindful Mr. Sloth by best-selling author Katie Hudson. Today, they got to meet Hudson virtually from her home in London.
A book that you read as a child stays with you. So this year, we picked Mindful Mr. Sloth specifically with the idea of sharing the lesson from the book, which is to slow down and be more mindful.
Students were able to submit questions for Hudson ahead of time that she answered. We have a scheduling update for our programming on Friday. Due to golf, there will not be KOAM News on air at 5 or 6 p.m. on Friday. However, we will bring you a look at the latest headlines and forecast on our free KOAM Plus app or on the KOAM website at 6. And then at 6:30, watch the Oklahoma City Thunder take on the New Orleans Pelicans right here on KOAM. Join us after the game for KOAM News at 10 p.m. Boeing's 737 MAX 9 aircraft could soon be back in the air after the FAA ordered the planes grounded following an incident where a door blew off an Alaska Airlines plane mid-flight. The planes are undergoing inspections now. Boeing CEO insists his company makes safe planes, but some lawmakers have questions. Natalie Brand has more details from Capitol Hill.
Mr. Calhoun, do people feel safe flying MAX 9 planes?
Boeing CEO Dave Calhoun returned to Capitol Hill facing questions and concerns about the safety of his company's airplanes.
It's my second day. We're going to talk about transparency and responsibility, and that'll be it.
Boeing ordered a safety stand down on Thursday, pausing production of its 737 MAX aircraft at its Washington facility near Seattle. This comes more than 3 weeks after a door panel of a 737 MAX 9 blew off during an Alaskan Airlines flight over Oregon. The airline says an inspection afterwards found loose bolts on many of its Boeing MAX 9s.
He has a real ongoing multi-year problem at Boeing of quality control issues, of a failure of their safety culture, and that he needs to fix it.
U.S. senators, including Washington State's Maria Cantwell, are calling for congressional hearings. A Boeing whistleblower who's testified before lawmakers in the past raised questions about quality control.
The issue all along is that employees in these production facilities at Boeing have been rushed to do the work.
Former Boeing senior manager Ed Pearson says he's not surprised by the incident earlier this month.
The only thing surprising to us is we're so thankful that it wasn't a fatal crash. That's what we've been expecting.
Boeing says it's cooperating fully with the FAA and will work closely with our airline customers as they complete the required inspection procedures to safely return their 737-9 airplanes to service. Natalie Brandt, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Alaska Airlines released its quarterly earnings report this morning and said it expects to lose at least $150 million as a result of the ground stop. China is accusing the U.S. its military operations are abusing international law. China's Defense Ministry spokesperson speaking at a monthly briefing today saying that the U.S.'s warship and warplane activity is, quote, on China's doorstep. The accusation comes one day after an American Navy warship sailed through the Taiwan Strait, which is a historically politically sensitive area. China is calling the move, quote, dangerous and provocative behavior, and is urging the U.S. to stop its interference. Still ahead, a look at America's economic growth.
A new report shows the economy grew at a strong pace during the end of 2023. But where do things stand in 2024? I'm CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger with a look inside the numbers.
And next in Health Watch, we take a look at how video games could impact your child.
Your local Ashley store.
Topping today's Health Watch, when your teen is socially withdrawn, you might chalk it up to regular teen angst. But a new study warns parents to take a closer look at their symptoms. The study published today in the journal JAMA Network Open found preteens who are socially withdrawn and experience physical discomforts have a higher risk of having suicidal thoughts at the age of 16. However, this study is limited. It lacks information about genetics and childhood experiences. Well, if you play video games, you'll want to listen up because new research says you could be at risk of hearing loss. According to a study published Tuesday in the journal BMJ Public Health, gamers' average sound levels often exceeded healthy sound exposure limits. And the longer the exposure, the higher the risk. Well, surgeons in Philadelphia are calling it a breakthrough. They've had success using an experimental gene therapy to treat a patient with hereditary hearing loss in the United States. Stephanie Stahl has more on this medical first.
A good luck kiss goodbye as this 11-year-old from Spain is wheeled into surgery at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia on October 3rd. He was born unable to hear and has become the first person to get gene therapy in the United States for congenital deafness.
What we've really accomplished is exciting because it's the first time that hearing has been restored in a child, really in a human being, for a hereditary type of hearing loss.
A CHOP surgeon developed a cutting-edge, minimally invasive endoscope that allowed the gene therapy to be surgically placed directly into the inner ear.
The idea here is to replace a defective gene that a child is born with, restore that gene to the inner ear by literally injecting it into the inner ear. And it's a surgical procedure to do that, but it's exciting because if we can get the gene back in and get it functioning, it should restore hearing.
Now, almost 4 months after the operation, he's back for testing and raises his hand, indicating he's hearing. Since receiving the experimental treatment in one ear, the boy's hearing has improved significantly. For safety reasons, the FDA wanted researchers to start with older children and only treat one ear.
We've always wanted to be able to restore natural hearing, and we're finally, and we've been waiting 30 years for this to be here, and it's finally here now. And that is restoring a defective gene that you're born with.
The boy from Spain was reportedly initially frightened by noises and voices he'd never heard before. Now he says he's enjoying hearing everything. Stephanie Stahl, CBS News.
And while the gene therapy corrected an abnormality in one very rare gene, surgeons say they hope this research can eventually open the door for future use on other genes that cause childhood hearing loss. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration is sounding the alarm about the possible risk of secondary cancers. It's tied to a form of immunotherapy called CAR T-cell therapy. The FDA sent notifications to several manufacturers of the therapies this week and last. Regulators are requiring them to now add a boxed warning to their products' prescribing information. That's a look at today's health news. A little later, experts warn about a new recall for a popular cough syrup.
Well, of course, it turned out to be another gloomy day for us today, and we're not going to see any sunshine for at least until about the second half of the weekend, but it looks pretty good. Here's a nice shot of our Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex Tower Cam downtown Joplin. At least the fog has gotten so much better. It's been so thick over the past couple days, but it has lifted quite a bit this evening. We could get some patchy fog back in here later on tonight, but not as bad as what we have seen over the past couple days. All right, 41 in Fort Scott, 45 Chatopa, 46 at Grand Lake Neosho is sitting at 45 degrees. We look at 7th and Rangeline, 44, feels like 40. Our humidity is at 93%, westerly winds at about 5 to 10. As long as those winds stay above 5 miles per hour, it will keep the fog on a minimum as we go through the evening hours. But we're going to hang out into the 40s, cloudy skies across the region, and still cloudy skies for us tomorrow. We did have a batch of rain that rolled through this morning. It wasn't heavy rain. Most of us picked up a 1/10, maybe 2/10 of an inch in some spots. But this rain is rolling off toward the north and to the east. So we're kind of in between waves. That was our 4th wave, believe it or not, that has affected us this week. But our next one, our 5th one, is building out across parts of Arizona. That wave will start to affect us as we go into the daytime hours, well, really nighttime hours for us on Friday. All right, let me walk you through time. For us tonight, we drop back near 40. The clouds stick around, a little bit of patchy fog, but not near as thick as what we have seen over the past couple days. By the noon hour tomorrow, we warm mid to upper 40s. Mostly cloudy skies, and by the afternoon, let's stop at 4:30 p.m. Most of us near 50, 51 degrees. 46 Nevada, 53 at Grand Lake, Parsons 48, Cassville also 48 degrees. All right, this next storm system is going to take a southerly track across the southern plains, so we're going to be right on the northern edge. So the best chances for rain are really going to be along and south of Interstate 44. But we are going to get some showers in here tomorrow evening. Tomorrow night, you can see the northern edge is kind of Independence, Parsons, Pittsburgh, over toward Lamar. And then the rain slowly works out of here. Now, don't be surprised if Saturday morning it mixes with a few flakes of snow, but it does not look like it's going to be a very big deal. Rain's out of here by Saturday afternoon. It is going to be a cooler day, highs into lower 40s. And then finally, we start to clear out a little bit by the time we head into Sunday, meaning a little bit of sunshine. All right, rainfall amounts with this next wave, again, not heavy. Mainly our southern counties, a 1/10, maybe 2/10 of an inch. Some areas, about 1/4 of an inch of rain. Here's your day planner on your Friday, 39 in the morning, 47 by noon, 47 by 5 p.m., and dropping off during the evening hours. And weather looks pretty good. Once we get into Sunday, we finally get the sun to return, something we just haven't seen much of as of late. 51 tomorrow, 42 Saturday, 49 on Sunday. But look at this stretch next week. Upper 50s to lower 60s across the region, but more rain will start to roll in by next weekend.
All right, thanks, Doug. Coming up, the Department of Education works to fix student aid applications for the next school year. Topping Consumer Watch, Haleon Healthcare is recalling 8 lots of Robitussin syrups due to microbial contamination. They include adult versions of Honey CF Max Day and Honey CF Max Nighttime. The contaminated products have expiration dates of 2025 and 2026. Their lot numbers are on the FDA website. Haleon says it has not heard of any adverse reactions to the products. Early last year, many analysts were predicting a recession. And that never happened, and new data shows the economy has remained resilient. CBS News business analyst Jill Schleichinger gives us a look.
A new report shows the U.S. economy expanded more than expected in the fourth quarter of 2023. Gross domestic product, or GDP, increased at an annualized pace of 3.3%, down from the third quarter, but better than the first half of the year. Of course, the health of the economy is determined by more than just one number. Mortgage rates are slowly dropping from last year's highs, but are still well above pre-pandemic levels.
I got into a condo in 2018, so I'm locked in at a 2.87 rate.
The inflation rate has receded from 2022 highs. Prices at grocery stores and gas stations are down, but eating out and rents continue to climb at a strong pace. And even though employment has remained solid, we've recently seen a number of tech and media companies announce layoffs. Many Americans have mixed responses to the mixed results.
Even if you make a decent income, it's very difficult.
I think the economy is doing well. For me personally, yeah, it's going well.
I would say mediocre at best.
Right now, the Federal Reserve is rooting for mediocre, so spending slows and inflation falls further. Until then, the central bank is unlikely to take any action on rates when they meet at the end of the month. In New York, I'm CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger.
Well, mortgage applications to buy a home rose last week. The Mortgage Bankers Association's average for a fixed rate loan was 6.78% for the week ending January 19th. And though that is up slightly from the week before, and demand for refinancing softened. Well, a fix may be coming to how federal student aid is calculated, which could provide more help for applicants. Reports say the Education Department is planning to fix an error in its free application for federal student aid, also known as FAFSA. The error did not adjust the aid tables for inflation, which reportedly would have cost students $1.8 billion in federal aid. Reports say the change will occur for the incoming students in the 2024 to 2025 school year. Well, final check of the forecast is next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, the parents of a school shooter stand trial for negligence. And then on KOAM News at 6, how a new program in Joplin could help people filing their taxes. Plus, we'll have more on the reopening of the historic Gay Parade in Southeast Kansas. And the entire McCully Catholic student body shows out to watch the Warriors hit the court. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. Well, plans for the country's tallest building are in the works. The boardwalk at Bricktown Tower is expected to be built in Oklahoma City. The structure is designed with 3 towers reaching more than 300 feet in the air, while the 4th is planned to take on the massive feat of becoming the nation's tallest building at 1,907 feet tall. The project is currently awaiting approval. That'll be pretty cool. Doug joins us with a final look at your forecast.
All right, it looks like backing down to about 39 degrees for us tonight. We could see a little bit of patchy fog. It's not going to be near as thick as what we've seen over the past couple of days. Let's go 51 on your Friday. Showers move in Friday evening, Friday night into Saturday morning, and then rolls out of here. So a little bit cooler for the weekend, but sunshine returns, even 60s next week.
Well, thanks for joining us. The CBS Evening News is next. And of course, we'll be right back here for KOAM News at 6. And we'll see you then. Have a great evening and an even better tomorrow.